teams are just a moment ago. The crowd is going absolutely nuts here, and we want you to get involved. We want to hear from you. We've got a poll running. Tell us which icon will dominate today's match. Will it be Hikaru Nakamura? Will it be Viswanathan David? Not an easy pick for the crowd.
Not an easy pick. Two legends of the game. A lot of draws in their head-to-head history, but Anand is undefeated in the last 22 games against Nakamura. That could be vital.
It's a big one for these two teams, a must-win, and it's time to head over to our excellent commentary duo of Sagar Shah and Yavanka Haska.
Oh my God, the atmosphere in the playing hall is electric, Yavanka. This is going to be tremendous today.
I know, what a tremendous audience we have with all those people cheering and really supporting their fans, and the players getting ready to sit down. Did you notice the teams looked a little tense? They know this is a crucial matchup. And here we have our distinguished guest.
Yes, making the first move today. Right now we have John Hinshaw, and he's the former Group Chief Operating Officer from HSBC.
And he was accompanied by his son Gordon. And the move was made. And there we see Hikaru with the white pieces against Vishy Anand. Just 20 minutes on the clock. And the arbiter begins boards 1 and 2.
Ready to go. And also Duda versus Arjun on board 2. Off we go. Hikaru plays the second move, B3. Wow.
Wow. Really unconventional move there from Hikaru. He's just saying he just wants to get his pieces out and take the game into a really quiet line. But this is something I have seen Hikaru do on many occasions.
He tries to play something offbeat, and I think he's looking for a win here, Yavanka. He's played 2 draws and 1 loss. He hasn't scored a win here, which is unlike him.
No, it is unlike him. You know, he's played 3 games, 2 draws, 1 loss, as you mentioned, and he is hungry to win. He has the white pieces. He will be the one that tries to put pressure against Vishy Anand.
Right, but Vishy has an excellent score against Hikaru. In their last 22 encounters, there have been no wins for Hikaru. They have had several draws, and Vishy has won a couple of games there. So D takes C5. He's chopped off that pawn. Maybe he'll try to keep it, but Vishy wants to capture it immediately.
Yes, Vishy just putting his pawns on light squares, just making everything solid. And Hikaru, he's really trying to build up the tension as he develops his bishop onto the long diagonal. And now everything is just brewing up very nicely for a breakout in the center.
Right, and he castles, and now it's time for our next boards, board number 3 and 4. There's a staggered start that happens. It takes 2 minutes for the 3rd and 4th board to begin, and here we see Parham Maksudlu and Yu Yangi and Bibisara Asaubaeva versus Vaishali.
Yes, and this is such a big match up for these teams. There we see Yu Yangyi against Parham Maksudlu. Parham coming so close yesterday to victory, but spoiling it in those final seconds. And here is again a big battle between rivals. These two, Bibisara and Vaishali, they have played a staggering 35 games between the pair.
Yeah, in the last 4 years. Yeah. That's a lot of games between each other. And right now, Vaishali is still searching for her first point in the tournament. She has played 4 games and lost all of them. And look at her there. She's come determined today. Also, Bibisara hasn't had the most positive of events. 1 win and 2 losses. So this is the board where, you know, anything can happen.
Yeah, it's basically where you really have to control the tension, the nerves, because remember, this is a really glamorous, this is a really public arena here for the players, and they are going to have to just control themselves as they go to play good moves.
Yeah, this is actually a good moment to tell our viewers, if you are in and around London, this is Friends House is the place to be. You have the 36 of the best players here, and they play every single day.
Yeah, and if you really want to get involved, you can actually go into the GCL metaverse, where you can give yourself a little emoji, a little icon, and off you go wandering and exploring the venue.
Right, GCLverse.com is the place where you can get the feel of the metaverse. And in the center, she's pushed the pawn, knight takes, and bishop d7 playing very quickly. And now it's time for our last two boards to begin. Here, clearly, Nurgül Salimova is the one in form against Elizabeth Pates. And on the junior board, prodigy board, we have Jonas Bjer taking on Volodar Murzin.
Yeah, and there we see a handshake between Elizabeth Pates and Nurgül Salimova. Salimova being the team winner yesterday, helping her team, Ganji's Grandmaster, to win their first game. And here we also see Volodar Murzin, young player there from Russia, against the Danish Jonas Bjer.
Right, and we are looking at an anti-Berlin here that has happened, Jovanka. This is going to be a very important clash. Jonas has actually had one draw, one win and one loss in his 3 games, while Murzin has been quite solid with 3 draws and 1 loss.
Right, and the Berlin is known to be the most solid opening ever as a response to White's king pawn pushing up 2 squares. And it's so solid that people actually don't want to play it, and what they do is they do an anti-Berlin to avoid it. And there we do see that the queen did move away from being attacked, and now Murzin is the one chasing away the bishop. This is a good strategy. When a piece enters your side of the board, then you have got to kick it away.
Right, and look at the speed at which they are playing. 11 moves, both have 19 minutes on the clock, so very well prepared.
Yeah, absolutely well prepared.
Right.
That's exactly what you need in this particular time format. You need to be well prepared. You need to deliver those opening moves quickly, because all that time is going to be necessary for those later stages. So let's dive to the game between Jan-Krzysztof Duda, Arjun Erigaisi. This was the game that James Canty was particularly pumped to see. He promised fire on the board, and these two are fighters.
Right, and Arjun is choosing this very interesting setup. You can see, by the way, with the black pieces, he has slightly more time on the clock as compared to Jan-Krzysztof. Both of them very aggressive players, and this is actually the opening that was played, the French defense. And Arjun played it with Nodirbek also yesterday. So he's banking on French.
He is banking on the French. Now, the French is all about just establishing a good, solid pawn structure. You're not afraid of giving your opponent some extra space, but what you are banking on is, again, that counter-attacking possibility. So take the position that they currently have on the board. Black's pieces are very active. The rook is lined up on an open line. Now, all White has to do, this is all the good stuff for Black, but for White is just banking on the power of having extra space, courtesy of the pawn that Saga has highlighted. Now, I have a little rule in chess that when a pawn arrives on the e5 square, the furthest square in the center, then this is an indicator that White must attack on the right side of the board.
So you're going to use your knights here, jump somewhere here, try to attack this king.
Tickle the king. This is the game of chess. Checkmate ends the game. No one is immune to that. And there you do see that Arjun decides to develop the knight. He wants to get his dark square bishop into play. And the game is brewing up nicely. It is a battle between Black's long-term plans of just dominating on the left side of the board, whereas White wants that fast and easy checkmate. And there you do see there is a poll where you can vote, remember, on the icons. Which one of those is going to win?
Yeah, which one of the icons, Nakamura or Viswanathan? This is actually a very, very exciting poll. You can head over to fans.globalchessleague.com and there you can poll. And look at Duda's move. He pushes his pawn in order to limit Arjun's knight from coming forward, and we have some trades happening right there.
Yeah, and there you can see The trades, the bishops have come off the board. Now, traditionally, this is actually a really good thing for Argent because this so-called French bishop, the light square bishops, usually walled in behind its own pawns. It's off the board, and now it's almost getting quite critical for Duda as he has to strike. He has to put the pressure on Argent. If Argent is just allowed to double those rooks on the only open file, then he's going to be absolutely fine.
Absolutely. And heading to now the icon board where you can see both the players having equal time. Also the position very level. This is such an exciting battle. You know, Jovanka, just having Viswanathan Anand in this tournament brings so much of excitement because we don't see him playing in many events these days.
No, we don't see him at all playing. And he's such a legend of the game. He's such an inspirational figure. And look at that. The polls are currently saying that Anand is the favorite here when it comes to the icon.
The viewers are all from India, it seems. Yeah, 70%. Okay, not all of them. Of course, Hikaru has a lot of fans as well. But right now, Vishy's position looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, there's no immediate trouble. You know, he's connected the rooks. He's taken a stake in the center. His pieces all have a purpose. Now, the question for Hikaru is how is he going to put pressure on black? Because that's how you win games. You keep asking your opponent to make decisions. You just keep challenging them.
Right, and you can see the scoreboard there. Right now, Ganges Grandmasters are in the 5th position. And American Gambits are at the last position, but it must be mentioned that they have played one match less. If they win here, they can move up to maybe the 3rd or the 4th spot.
Yeah, and we do see a trade of pawns, and here, do not capture that pawn because suddenly the bishop would have lined up and tagged the queen and the rook that was sitting there on the square.
Right, so that pawn was poisoned, but something's happening on board number 3, Jovanka. They are repeating moves, it seems.
But I suspect they might be repeating moves, but it's not going to be a draw because Param is one of the most fighting players around. He loves to play chess. He doesn't take quick draws.
Yes, and also it's the Sicilian, and this is what happened actually. Yu Yangi put his bishop here and then brought it back. He went there, the bishop came in, he repeated back again, but actually it was Yu Yangi who said, oh, I want to continue, no draw here, pawn to h3, and then the king moved to the side, the bishop has come back, and this is where we stand right now, a complex position.
Very complicated position. An initial impression is that white stands very well. You know, the queen and bishop, they're lined up. There's pressure against black's pawn there in the center. White has a nice half-open line to just exert some pressure on that pawn with the rooks. And the big question for Param is how is he going to ever break out? Because it's so important when you have these type of close positions just to come forward with your pawns and just release your pieces.
Right, and Jovanka, I can already sense a tactic in the air. Imagine if the rook jumps in and snatches this pawn. Yeah. I can actually grab a pawn and after knight takes, I can take with the bishop, attacking your queen and the rook.
I love it. I love eating pawns, and he does it.
He does it. It's on the board.
Did you see that look that Param gave him? It was like,
I don't like it. I don't like it there. And actually, Param might be in small trouble here.
He might be in small trouble, but he does have the bishop pair. Now, having the bishop pair gives you an advantage of maybe half a pawn, and that's because they're so powerful in open positions. Take a look at the bishop that Isaga is highlighting there on the right side of the board. It bears down against this knight and the pawn. So I don't think Param should panic just yet. He's sacrificed a pawn, but it's not the end of the world. Just focus on improving the power and the placement of the pieces.
Right. So for now, he has to just come back. You know, when your opponent surprises you, you need to calm down a bit. Look at what are the possibilities, and it's not so bad. He just should recover and fight back.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
so here we see the next one. Vaishali against Bibisara and Jovanka. Vaishali, even if she's lost 4 games, she is in an enterprising mood. Look at that. Her rook sticks out in the corner of the board there. Her king is still in the center. She is on the attack. Her last move may be a bit questionable because she had a nice position here. She could have moved her rook to the center of the board, but she went here. Still looking very good for black.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting position. It's absolutely fascinating. As you mentioned, the king completely in the center for black. But take a look at white's king. It's not that safe either. It doesn't have any pawns protecting it. And these 2 bishops that's in front of it, they're not pointing at great assets, are they? I mean, this bishop is blocked in by its own pawns. And it's not very easy for Bibisara to even come up with a way to push forward. That's one of the things you love to do in chess. Push, 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 and back your opponent into a corner. And Bibisara, sensing that her king might be in potential danger, offers a trade of queens. Would you take it?
That's a good question, actually. Vaishali might want to take that queen because if she tries to avoid it, then the white queen is on a very good square, putting pressure. But already, I think black has a very good structure, and this is good news for the Ganges Grandmasters. We see the win probability meter at the top. It says 66% to Vaishali.
But one word of caution, with this 20-minute no increment time control, you have to be practical. You cannot burn up all of your time getting an excellent position and then just lose with seconds on your clock. So Vaishali, she does have a 1-minute deficit. She needs to speed up.
Right. For now, she has 12 minutes, 55 seconds, 14 minutes for Bibisara. And let's head over to the prodigy board right now between Jonas Bear and Volodar Murzin. This is looking very interesting here, Jovanka.
Yeah, and first up, we have to do a quick material count to make sure that both sides are equal. They are, I think. Yeah,
right.
they are.
There are equal pawns in the position, equal pieces. But the last move, Jovanka, was not the best by Jonas of pushing the pawn forward. Maybe just doubling down the d file would have been much better. But nonetheless, he's attacked the queen. And now, will Murzin be brave enough to chop this pawn off?
Oh, you need to have guts there, because if you do that, you are inviting the rook to swing over, attack the queen, and once she moves over...
Only square.
Only
square here.
A little mouse hole there for the queen to escape to. Then this is the question, like, first up, does the queen get trapped? No, it probably doesn't. There's no immediate way to actually attack her. But you do have to calculate the consequences of rook takes pawn, or... Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
It's messy.
It's actually decision time for Volodar Murzin here. His queen is attacked. You can see him very focused there. And he is right now slightly worse in his position against Jonas Bear. So this makes the game exciting, match exciting, because on board 6, we have the Ganges Grandmasters in some trouble, but on board 4, Vaishali is slightly better.
Yes. But, you know, it's a tale of balance. It's not a critical disadvantage there for Bibisara, and neither is it bad for Volodar. And Volodar actually says he doesn't want to take the pawn, instead steps back. But going back to this critical board 4, old rivals, old friends, Bibisara Asalbayeva against Vaishali. Vaishali's still thinking.
Not making her move. Oh my God, she's now down to 10 minutes.
Vaishali.
45 seconds. She's taken roughly 5 minutes already for this move.
Yeah, and she has to be decisive here.
Right. And so while she's thinking for her move right now, you can see the win probability meter still looking good for black, but Vaishali is not decisive. And this is what even David mentioned yesterday, that if Vaishali was in good form, she would have made her decisions much quicker.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that she's lost 4 games. She's not coming out with her moves so freely.
I know, but on a psychological level, this is going to give hope to Bibisara. And when you are defending a bad position, that's exactly what you need to be. You need to be positive. You need to believe that you can actually pull this one out of the bag. But Vachier-Lagrave, deep in thought, this is a luxury that she cannot afford.
Yeah, she needs to move quickly, and while she's thinking, let's quickly head over to Yu Yangi versus Parham Maksudlu here. Parham seems to have a pawn missing in front of his king.
A magician came and magicked it away. But yeah, it's missing, but he's doing some good stuff. Because when your king is in trouble, get those queens off the board. That's like an imperative. You have to do that. So Yu Yangi won't want to be making the trade. But yeah, let's go back and have a look at how it continues. Because we left it at the explosive. Aha!
Hit the pawn here.
You want to play with fire? Well, you might get burnt, says Parham.
Right.
What
and
a
the
classic
thing
move.
is, if the bishop moves away, the rook is lost. So he sacrificed his rook here. A double exclamation move for Yu Yangi. And then queen took it back. Bishop took the pawn. And what we are left with, Jovanka, is a position where white has a pawn and a piece, that is a bishop, for a rook, and a slightly weakened king here in the corner of the board.
Yes, it is. Yeah, this one is wild. You always get chaos when you have these pieces, these positions with these piece imbalance rather.
Right.
Now the whole point is everything is going to hinge on piece activity, king safety, and whether, in the case of black, the pieces can connect together. Now there is a big threat on the board of white advancing up the central pawn to unleash the light squared bishop. That is huge. So that will be something that Parham will be trying to counter. Now it's very important that he does not concede ground. So for instance, he tries to block up that bishop with his own pawn. Well, it's the white knight can then jump forward into the center.
If pawn pushed, then the knight comes here. This is getting very intense, Jovanka. Maybe we can quickly check the icon board, because there we see Hikaru Nakamura maybe slowly and steadily trying to turn on the heat on Vishy Anand.
Yeah, and there we can see Vishy on the camera. He's got
8 minutes.
8 minutes and 44 seconds, and Hikaru just under 11 minutes. And Vishy gets up from the board.
Yeah, no, I think he's generally just wears the jacket and sits back. Sometimes, yesterday also he did this, and I was like, wow, is Vishy going to go and check others' games? But not really, it's
now
cold in there.
That would be a power move, Saga. I mean, that would be like ultimate boss. Whilst you're thinking, I'm just going to casually look around at my teammates. I'm that confident in my position. I love it. But okay, yeah, it is cold in the venue. So off the jump, the jacket comes, and yeah, there we see Hikaru deep in thought.
Yeah.
Does this mean that there's a sensitive moment here? Because you see Hikaru with his game face on. And I'm primarily looking at this loose bishop that's undefended there. The light squared bishop for black. Like, is there some good discovered attack against it?
Right. If you can move the knight away and attack it, that could be something. And Jovanka, also the bishop here, that is on the side of the board, is not doing too much. So although Vishy's has equal material, everything is even, somehow the positioning of his pieces is slightly off.
Yeah, now you mentioned it, you can see that the bishop is marooned there on no man's land and it's not getting out. So when we have that kind of situation, I tend to say, well, play on the other side of the board. If you play on the other side of the board, you have an extra piece.
Right.
So let's go.
Let's open it up. Let's push the pawn there. Okay, let's see if... But look at what Hikaru's doing. I think Hikaru is looking at other games and trying to decide if there's some way he can just make this into a draw or something. I don't know. He's trying to decide his move based on what his teammates are doing, and he was not very impressed with his teammates' positions. Look at him. Look at him. He's still looking there. This is what team competition is all about, guys. It's not just your board. You need to play for the entire team there.
Yeah, you can see him shaking his head. I mean, there is one thing. Hikaru, when he calculates, he does a Beth Harmon. He looks up at the ceiling, and he's also putting on his jacket. And yeah, he attacks the bishop. He moves the knight. Bishop must move. And well, this is again brewing up to be a nice battle. I know the computer, our computer is saying, no, don't like it. Wasn't the best move. But I think in human terms, this is very, very understandable. He's just saying, let's lock the dark square bishop out that black has, and let's go on the other side of the board.
Yes, so for now, this position looking roundabout even there, Jovanka, and maybe if there's one board where things are going really well for the Ganges Grandmasters, it's on board 4. Vaishali is putting her pressure on Bibisara. She has made several moves. We were seeing that Vaishali was not making a decision for several minutes, but now we can see a lot of action has happened here.
It has cost her a lot of time on the clock because she's down to 7 minutes and 38 seconds, whereas Bibisara has just under 11 minutes. And there you do see that it is Bibisara to play. When a quick count of the material tells me that Vaishali is a pawn up.
Wow.
This is good news for Vaishali.
This is actually great news. I don't think she will lose this game. So she will be up on the scoreboard, but if she can score that win, you know, Ganges Grandmasters will grow in strength manyfold because she's been losing all her games. And if she wins, that would be huge.
I know, and when you're playing with the best players in the world, the margins are so small, right? One small mistake, that's it, you're out. One team member loses, the team loses. And yeah, Vaishali, if she can start motoring, racking up some points, she will be an asset for the Ganges Grandmasters. But yeah, for Bibisara, again, she needs to play quickly to put the pressure on Vaishali. She has to make sure that her opponent doesn't think that much.
Yes, and right now, Bibisara, 10 minutes on the clock. We can see Vaishali has 62% chances to win. Let's look at the other female board here. And we have Elizabeth versus Salimova. And look at this. Oh my God, the white king is a bit lonely in the corner there.
But it won a piece.
Oh, there's an extra white piece on the board. So Salimova is actually a piece down.
She is a piece down, and in comes a knight. Now, this game is wild.
Oh, wow. And it's actually close to winning for white here if Elizabeth finds the best move. For now, she has 11 minutes 36 seconds to find it, while Salimova has 6 minutes 51 seconds. Jovanka, what do you think? Will she find the best move here?
It's not obvious to the eye what is going to be the best move here. It's
a very tough move.
It's a very tough position because if you just slide the rook over on the left, just to defend the bishop, you can see that the evaluation bar starts going down.
You're just dropping this pawn.
Exactly, you're losing the pawn. And look at the white king. It got no clothes on. You do not want that to happen. So you can't play the most natural move on the position. So this means that there has to be a kind of fancy move in the air.
Right, so maybe the move here, Jovanka, just move, slide the rook over, which is so tough. Because if the queen takes the bishop, we take the knight that is hanging. And if the knight takes, here is the key point of that rook switch.
You can just simply move the rook one square forward and suddenly you attack the queen and the knight. But moving the rook to the right instead of the left, that's difficult.
That's very tough. And you can see Elizabeth Pates right now trying her best to figure out if that move works or not. We have an entire screenshot of all the 6 games, and I think that will help us to realize what is happening in this match. You can see that Ganges Grandmasters are actually in trouble here because maybe there is Hikaru, who's slightly better, Duda, who's slightly better, Yu Yangi, who's slightly better, and Elizabeth Pates, who's winning. So this match can become very dangerous for the Ganges Grandmasters.
Yeah, this match could be very, very dangerous. Indeed, Yeah, let's dive in and take a look at some of the other games in great detail. So let's do a deep dive on the game between Jan-Krzysztof Duda and Arjun Erigaisi. And by the way, do you remember we're talking about Elizabeth Pates against? She found that stunning rook move.
Wow, that's amazing. But you know, Jovanka, there are a lot of moves happening on the icon board. Can we quickly
let's go there.
A glance there, and we see that the bishop has just dropped back. Vishy's king side has been broken up a bit. The bishop is out of play. This is looking quite dangerous.
It is looking very dangerous there for Anand. Despite what the computer, the evaluation says, I would place it more on white's side.
Yeah.
Just because of this bishop that is stranded there in the corner of the board. And now Hikaru, he is opening things up.
Right, and actually, Jovanka, this bishop is doing only one role, which is to control this square. But Hikaru is like, I don't even need to go there. I'm opening up another line for my rook.
Yeah, he is. But there we see Vishy getting ready to put the rook back.
Yeah, he's a great defender. Even yesterday against Alireza from a lost position, he caught quite a good defensive position, but then he later on went on to lose. But right now, Hikaru has 6 minutes and Vishy has only 5 minutes with no increment and slightly worse. I think it's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure for Vishy, but do remember that Vishy has a lot of experience with this particular time control. He grew up playing with no time bonuses whatsoever. He's used to the stress. He knows the tricks and the trades of playing with just seconds left. So there we see Vishy. He was.
Hikaru chops off the bishop, and this was not a great move. You can see
and
that the bar instantly went down. It's almost equal now.
Okay.
Vishy is back in the game, but if you notice this, Jovanka, there is still a knight that's aiming to jump in. The bishop is still out of play. Why is this suddenly turning into an equal position?
I suspect it might be because there could be some mass simplification going on. Because yes, the knight can jump to that square that you indicated, but it does invite a rook trade.
Right.
And if black were able to get rid of the rooks and the queens, and then this bishop is suddenly released from its cage, and that's it. It is equality.
Right. So Vishy needs to find a few accurate moves. He moves his queen upwards in a way, pinning the knight. He's telling the knight, you can't move anymore.
And he's got to be careful, Hikaru, because there is a big threat of a black pushing the central pawn, attacking the knight. Whoops.
It's a big one.
The white rook will fall, or a knight. So Hikaru needs to take care. Obviously, Hikaru will spot this very basic threat, and that's why he lines up his rook. And note how Hikaru tries to keep under control the dark squared bishop.
Yes, this bishop still here, and now, Jovanka, the threat is to move the knight, unleash an attack on the queen, and pick up this rook.
Yeah, and it's a deadly one. So Vishy better get out of the rook's way. He has to move the queen.
Right, this is looking pretty dangerous here for Vishy Anand. The position is equal, the engine is saying it's fine, but Anand has to play very carefully. And let's quickly, Jovanka, head over to a board where we might see a decisive result. Yu Yangi is really pressing against Parham Maksudlu. Good news for the American Gambits.
Absolutely fantastic news for the American Gambits. And Yu Yi has played a superb game. We did see him sacrifice his rook. And now the queen moves over, attacks the pawn. He's playing so quickly.
Yeah, he's playing beautifully. He's attacked this pawn. He has an extra pawn here. You can see the queen defends against all threats. And he now says, I have an extra pawn. I'm pushing it down the board.
Yeah, that's his goal, right? First up, you secure the king's hiding place. Make sure it's not subjected to any checks. And we're expecting the queen just to maintain her presence along that diagonal. And then, as Saga says, it's easy things. Just push the pawn. Get that pawn to a queen.
And also Parham only has 3 minutes 30 seconds on the clock. This is not going to be easy for the Ganges Grandmasters. And adding to their woes, on board number 5, Jovanka, there is Elizabeth Pates, who has ended up in a winning position.
Okay, well, this is important victory there for the American Gambits. There we see Elizabeth Pates with the white pieces. She's just a comfortable piece up. She's beaten back the queen and the knight and the bishop that were hovering around her king. That's all gone away. And Nurgil trying to mix things up, getting her knight to the center.
But she has only 3 minutes left and her position is also inferior. This is not going her way, and you can see the win probability meter showing 84% for white to win. This one is very dangerous. 7 minutes 47 seconds for Elizabeth Pates, 3 minutes for Nurgul Salimova.
Yeah. And let's head over to board 2 because that is massively... Oi, oi, oi. What happened here?
This one is looking really bad for Arjun Erigaisi. Or has it changed? You know, one thing, Jovanka, before we head here and deep dive into this, Vishy Anand seems to have blundered here.
Okay.
If we can quickly check.
Let's go there immediately.
Something has changed. Maybe.
What happened to the queen?
Where's Vishy's queen?
Can we quickly backtrack and find out?
What just happened? Insane.
Absolutely unbelievable stuff.
Oh, look at this. He had played his queen here. Hikaru had brought his rook up. And Vishy moved his rook here. He absolutely forgot that the knight could jump in. Or maybe he knew it. He took this. Oh my God, it's that typical Vishy thing, you know. He sacrifices material to build up fortresses.
Yeah, but it is a defensive mindset, and it's going to be a really tough fortress for Vishy to actually hold, because one of the big problems is that this pawn chain that white has, white's going to start advancing them just to open up lines for the queen and rook to infiltrate.
Right. In chess, you know, when you have less material, your opponent generally is able to win. But sometimes you are able to build a complete kind of a fortress there where the opponent cannot get in. And I think Vishy is one of those amazing players who spots these opportunities by giving up material, and he's done exactly that, Jovanka.
Exactly. I mean, the aim of the game is to checkmate, but if you're able to build up a defensive system and there is no checkmate possible, or there's no way to win material, then you come to a standstill. And there we see Vishy, he's keeping control. Hikaru was threatening to push the pawns forward just to open up lines, try to destabilize Black's position, but Hikaru... Well, Anand is saying not having any of it.
My God, if he holds this, Jovanka, that would be something
genius.
Special. Yeah, genius would
defense.
be the right word. Let's quickly go to the board 2 game, because over there, Arjun Erigaisi seemed to be in some trouble in this one, but he managed to wriggle out of it, and the current position shows it to be equal. And look at how the rooks are lined up. Oh, is this a draw?
Wait. He just grabbed a pawn and allowing a check.
Yes, and by the way, there seems to be a result. Oh, Vaishali has drawn against Bibisara.
Okay.
So that's 1-1. The score is 1-1 there. Check.
Yes, it's actually great news for Vaishali,
yes,
because she has stopped the bleeding. You know, she got her first half point. That's exactly what you need for a psychologist. And actually, let's take a look at the replay of board 4 and find out how the game ended.
And Vaishali Bibisara drew. Right now, Arjun Erigaisi is trying his best to see if his pawn, which is just 2 steps away from queening, can reach the last rank, but this looks like equal.
It's dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is, but... Yeah, let's have a look at how Vaishali held there and drew the game. You can see the final moment.
Yeah. And there you can actually take a look at the clock time. You can see Vaishali, she just wants to get her first half board on the board, and she accepts a draw offer from Bibisara.
Right, so that's a draw, and also right now the game that we were looking at also seems to be going towards a draw. They have in fact drawn on board number 2. Duda and Erigaisi have drawn, going to the top board, the icon board.
Yeah, let's quickly dive into the icon board and see whether Hikaru has made any progress in cracking Black's position. And
He
whoa,
has made
that's
a lot of progress. Look at him. His pieces are so close to the Black King, but Vishy's King looks comfortable there.
Well, yes and no, because I think on a practical level, this is absolutely fine for Black, but it looks so scary. And there the king is running.
Look at that, only 55 seconds for Vishy, and now 47 seconds. Hikaru has 1 minute 18 seconds.
And he has to be very precise because White is threatening just to dive up with the queen 2 squares, give a check. And Vishy says it's just a check. A check is not checkmate. And in comes...
Look at how he pulled his king back.
And
oh my god, anything can happen here.
Yeah, exactly. And Hikaru has to be careful because Black is threatening to take the pawn.
Oh, he attacks this pawn here. And now Vishy can capture this pawn. This can go in any direction. 20 seconds for Vishy.
Oh, no.
26 seconds. Insane.
It doesn't really matter, Saga. 20 seconds is not a lot of time.
I think this is going Hikaru's way. Even though Vishy's position is completely fine, he needs to chop off this pawn. It's so difficult. He makes the right move. But now, king is running. Oh my goodness.
Oh my, where is the king going to go?
But
and
Vishy
off it hides.
17 seconds.
Yeah. Is he going to get
look at him. He's moving his king up. There was a checkmate or not. No, it wasn't. It was equal.
Yeah.
And the rook moves up. Actually, very accurate play by Viswanathan Anand, but 43 seconds for Hikaru, 7 seconds for Vishy.
Vishy's not going to do it.
I don't think he can survive this. Hikaru keeps giving checks. Vishy.
And you see the hand shaking. 3 seconds, only 2 seconds left on the clock. Fantastic defense on the board from Vishy, but on the clock, it's just over.
This is heartbreaking. Look at that. Look at Vishy. I mean, at the end, the nerves got better of him, but he played such great moves.
It was just fantastic. Fantastic play there from Vishy. Excellent defense and so calm. But in the end, it was all about the clock and those final seconds.
Right, and Hikaru showing that he could handle that time pressure better. He won the game. And quickly going into board 3, we see that players are playing very quickly. Look at Parham's time there. 15 seconds.
But he might be holding it. Saga.
But he was completely winning, right?
He was
Yu was completely winning.
And you can see there on the board that the queen is checking the white king. And now the king cannot run to where it wants to go, to the left.
Yu Yangi can try here because somehow his opponent only has 13 seconds.
Yeah, it's only 13 seconds and there you can see some hesitation from Yu Yangi. Does he go? He has to be very practical here.
Look at him holding the king. He's not even leaving it. And his time is ticking down.
It is ticking down. But come on, make a move.
Oh, come on. You can't just hold it there. I mean, you can.
But you can, but it's going to cost you. Come on, he's got...
What is this? Is the video frozen or what? No, it is not.
Wow. Okay,
5 seconds there.
Okay, he's just thinking, what is the most practical? And now 8 seconds for Maksudlu. And now, have they repeated the position 3 times? This is going through Maksudlu's head.
Just play some move, Yu Yangi. He has only 6 seconds. You can just win it, even if you lose the queen. That's okay. No, he's going for a draw.
No, but, come on. But if you lose the queen, okay.
Oh, look at Param, how quickly he's playing.
And he's slamming the clock.
He's playing 2 moves per second.
Yeah.
He's not even losing a second.
And now it comes. And now the king comes up.
Oh, what did he do? Check. Oh, it's a draw. It's a draw. He can actually claim a draw now. He can.
How much time is on the clock, though, Saga? And this is what's...
Oh, he drew. He drew it.
Wow. That was incredible save there for Maksudlu.
Yes, and maybe, Joanka, the last board that's going on, 6th board. Let's quickly head over to that. Jonas Beer against Volodar Murzin. And not that this game is going to make a difference on the outcome of the match, because American Gambits have won. Hikaru Nakamura won. And Elizabeth Pates has won.
She has won. And here we can see the players. It's not a... Not important in the terms of the match outcome, but certainly in terms of points.
Yeah,
And there we
definitely.
see-
The game points are important and they draw. Joanka here, what a match this was.
It was full of the emotion. And a massive round of applause from the audience. What a match that just captivated our hearts. Vishy Anand with his amazing defense.
No, I think that
And it
was the
was-
highlight. But you know, Hikaru just managed to keep that pressure going on Vishy and he didn't let it go.
Yeah.
And then that defense by Parham Maksudlu was outstanding. You know, Ganges Grandmasters played amazingly well, but somehow American Gambits were too strong.
Absolutely. Wow, just an unbelievable match. And did you see there at the end, Vishy? I think he was
his hand was shaking.
His hand was shaking. He looked shell-shocked.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't quite believe, you know, he played a perfect game and somehow the clock was his downfall. And there we do see Jonas Bjerre.
And
Junior board.
He would be very pleased today. The American Gambits had lost 2 matches, but now they have won their match, and the mood in the dressing room here, well, right now the other teams have also entered. Let's have a look at the scoreboard and the scorecard that we have.
Yeah, it was an absolutely unbelievable match and a much needed victory from American Gambits. They were
10-4.
lying in last place. They very much needed this win.
Yes.
There you can see victories for Hikaru Nakamura and Elizabeth Pates with the white pieces.